welcome to this explainer. Let's just jump right in. Today, I want you to completely shift your mindset. We're not doing a basic tech tutorial here. Think of this as a masterclass for professional film students. You see, AI video generation isn't just a random slot machine of images anymore. It's evolved into a highly controlled digital film set. So we're going to walk through the complete workflow guide for cinematic AI video creation, so you can actually master this incredible new medium. Okay, real quick, here's our agenda for today. We're going to cover the AI filmmaker's trap, the director's blueprint, the 5 principles of cinematic AI, lighting, color, and emotion, the professional AI workflow, and finally, directing multi-shot sequences. Let's get to it. Section 1, the AI filmmaker's trap. So let's look at why so many aspiring digital directors fail right out of the gate. 90%. That's a staggering number, right? 90% of beginners just throw in the towel in their very first week. And here's the thing, it's not because the tools are inherently too hard. It's because they get totally overwhelmed and fall into this massive workflow trap, basically just spending hours tweaking prompts and praying for a miracle. And this right here exposes the exact rookie mistake we're talking about, relying purely on text-to-video generation. With text-to-video, the AI is literally forced to guess the lighting, the environment, and the cast from scratch every single time you hit generate. It's kind of the equivalent of showing up to shoot a movie without a lock script or a cast. The professional standard, on the other hand, is image-to-video. This gives you a visual reference to lock everything in before you even think about adding motion. Section 2. The director's blueprint. The crucial takeaway here is that professionals avoid text-to-video entirely. They use image-to-video as their unbreakable blueprint. The AI doesn't have to guess what your character looks like or what the lighting should be because you've already locked him in. This is absolutely key. By feeding the AI model a flawless first-frame visual reference, you're guaranteeing absolute consistency across every single shot. The AI isn't guessing anymore. It's simply following your direct visual instructions. Section 3, the 5 principles of cinematic AI. But, how do you actually generate those perfect reference images in the first place? Well, you rely on the exact same theories taught in film school. There are 5 foundational elements you absolutely must prompt into your initial image. Lighting, to give your scene 3-dimensional depth and shadow. Depth, to separate your foreground, midground, and background focus. Composition, like the rule of thirds or leading lines, to guide the viewer's eye. Emotion, which is the secret psychological core of the shot. And finally, color, the tones that literally manipulate how the audience feels. These aren't just buzzwords, guys. They are the literal parameters you have to define. Section 4, lighting, color, and emotion. Let's zoom in a bit on the specific principles that dictate the entire psychological impact of your scene. Emotion is the secret engine behind every blockbuster. If you skip to finding what you want the viewer to feel, your AI is just going to make random, low-quality technical decisions. The emotion you choose, whether that's tension, hope, or isolation, that dictates where your shadows fall and how harsh your lighting needs to be. Lighting creates direction, and that direction creates the mood. And your emotional intent directly informs your color grading. Warm tones, your reds, oranges, and golds, they naturally push the viewer toward feelings of intensity, tension, and passion. Cool tones, on the flip side, push toward calm, distance, and isolation. So if you want a scene filled with anxiety, you'd use harsh lighting with warm, fiery tones. If you accidentally mix warm and cool tones without a clear purpose, your emotional output just becomes muddy. Think of your color palette as a psychological tool. Section 5, the professional AI workflow. Let's see how all this theory builds into an actual digital production pipeline using a platform like Heisfield's Cinema Studio. Think of this exact workflow as your pre-production phase. Step 1, you secure your set by generating the location. Step 2, you dial in your actor's exact specifications to cast a consistent character. And step 3, you combine them in the scene and apply your color grade. Let's look at just how detailed this gets. This is basically your digital casting call. By meticulously defining parameters, like say demanding a $250 million budget aesthetic, you guarantee a sleek, high-end look. You define the genre, the era, and you specify exact human details: brown eyes, wavy hair, specific athletic build, even tattoos. Locking all of this in guarantees your actor won't magically morph or change appearances between takes. You finally have a consistent star for your film. Once your shot is framed, we hit post-production grading. Tweaking the temperature can push a scene cooler to emphasize isolation. Adding bloom gives this nice, soft, ethereal glow to bright areas. Halation simulates that classic red glow around highlights that you see on actual film stock, and film grain adds tactile cinematic texture. These final touches really matter because they strip away that sterile, artificial digital look and give your viewer the visceral, emotional experience of a true cinematic frame. Section 6. Directing multi-shot sequences. So we've got our perfect, emotionally charged still frame. Now it's time to yell action and get things moving. But how do we build motion without breaking the illusion? How do you build a cohesive multi-shot sequence without confusing the AI? Well, the biggest mistake creators make at this stage is writing a massive paragraph of text to describe an action sequence. They write a whole novel, which just completely confuses the video model and results in a chaotic, unusable shot. The trick here is to use the UI controls like a true director. You use simple, plain English for the literal action prompt. Keep it short. But for the feel of the shot, you use the built-in directing options. You select an emotion setting, which pre-builds the character's body language. You select your camera movement manually, like a slow push or a dolly. And you use speed ramps. Slowing the motion down dramatically increases tension, while speeding it up creates chaotic urgency. Let the tools dictate the emotional pacing, not a giant text prompt. By using multi-shot manual modes, you can map out a highly specific timeline. For example, shot 1, from 0 to 4 seconds, might be a slow push camera to build initial tension. Shot 2, cut to an alert zoom as the character tracks a target. And shot 3, hit a hero mode speed ramp for dramatic impact in those final seconds. You are literally crafting an intentional emotional arc across multiple, perfectly stitched clips. And as a final technical masterstroke, we have to look at the absolute cutting edge of reference-based generation, tools like Seedance 2.0. Instead of just starting with an image, you can use an entire existing video as your reference. The AI perfectly maps your newly cast characters, your defined lighting, and your specific color grades right over the locked, real-world motion of the original source video. It's structural perfection paired with completely unlimited stylistic freedom. It's a real game changer. So, you now have the film theory. You know exactly how lighting and color dictate emotion. You've got the blueprint for your digital set, and you know the precise professional workflow to maintain consistency. So, director, what are you going to shoot first? Are you going to be the 10% who masters the digital film set or the 90% lost in the prompt box? Take this workflow and start crafting your own cohesive, emotionally resonant cinematic AI videos. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.